Hello my friends, and welcome to Paulina Art. Today I'm going to be painting this pretty mountainside landscape. I'm going to show you step by step how to create the sky, the clouds, the mountains, how to add this rocky river and tree using simple and easy techniques to create beautiful results. Today I'm testing the Pebeo acrylic paint on this composition. If you would like to see how I created this pretty mountainside landscape, stay with me and let's paint together. Today I'm working on 9 by 12 canvas, which I primed early this morning with a coat of white gesso. I am recycling this canvas. There's a painting at the bottom that I didn't like, so I just apply my gesso and I have a brand new canvas. To start this painting, I'm going to divide it in the middle here approximately. I'm using gray chalk so you can see what I'm doing. And it doesn't matter what size of canvas you're working on. These dimensions and drawing techniques that I'm going to show you will work for any size of canvas. Okay, I'm going to pick up some painter's tape and I'm going to put it right below this line because I want to tone my canvas before I start painting, and I'm going to use 2 different colors, and I'm going to show you how you can tone your canvas. I used to like to paint on white canvas before, but now I always like to have some color before I start painting. And this way of toning is very easy. Today I'm testing some acrylic paint. I'm testing the Pebeo acrylic paint set. Okay, let's tone the canvas. I'm going to tone this with a light blue and the bottom with green. These are the colors from the acrylic paint set. This color I purchased separately, so I'm not going to include this color in the painting. I'm only going to use the 5 colors from the set. And the first one I'm going to choose is this nice cyan blue. And I'm going to use a large brush and pick up some of this blue and add lots of water to the paint. And I'm going to add this at the top. And I have here a paper towel, and I'm just going to dry it before it has a chance to dry. And this gave my canvas a beautiful blue tone, and I'm going to do the same at the bottom. I'm going to remove the painter's tape and I'm going to add some yellow to the blue. I want to create a green color. And I'm going to tone the bottom part. I'm going to tone the bottom part just like I did the top of the canvas with this nice green color that I mix. And I'm using a large brush to quickly cover the areas. And again, with the paper towel, I'm going to sweep the paint to tone the canvas. And I can sweep the sides. And my canvas is nicely toned so I can start paint. Because this is such a thin layer of paint, it's going to dry very, very quickly. Okay, I'm going to start painting the sky. And I want lighter up here and gradually darker as I get to the top. I'm going to use a medium size filbert brush to paint the sky. And I'm going to pick up the white color and add a drop of blue. I want this a very, very light. And I'm going to start adding this light color on this area. And I'm going to add another drop of blue to this color. Just darken it up ever so lightly. And I'm blending the colors as I go along. And again, another drop to my color to make it even darker. And this is going to be at the top of the sky. We want the darkest color. This is going to add perspective and depth to the painting. The sky is like this. If you pay attention, it is always darker at the top, and it gets lighter as it gets closer to the ground. And I'm blending these colors with a clean brush. Clean, damp brush. And I can add more blue if I want to. And I like to add more of the lighter color in here. So I added more white to the blue. And again, I'm blending with a damp, clean brush. Once I'm happy with the sky, I'm going to let it dry because I'm going to add some clouds here after. Okay, the sky is dry. You can use a hair dryer to speed up the process. And if you're not happy with the way the sky looks, you can go and do it again. Sometimes it takes 2 coats of paint to get it where you want it. But I'm going to add some clouds on that, so that's going to even out the sky. I'm going to be using a round brush. For the clouds, I'm going to pick up white and a drop of the cyan blue and a drop of red, of the magenta. I'm going to create this very soft purpley blue. I'm going to start adding the clouds with this brush. I'm just freely moving the brush, creating the effect of clouds. These are like cumulus clouds. And with the same brush, which I just rinse, I'm going to blend them at the bottom. Not so much at the top, but at the bottom. I keep cleaning my brush with a paper towel, so I'm not bringing more paint. I'm going to pick up an angled brush now, and I'm going to pick up white just at the toe of the brush. I don't have any medium on the brush. I just rinsed it with some water. You can add some acrylic medium if you like. And with this, I'm going to add the highlight to the clouds, and just at the top. Very, very easy clouds. The key is to keep the white only at the toe and blend it on the brush itself. This way, when you paint, the brush is going to do the blending for you. Okay, clouds are done. We're going to start doing the rest of the landscape. And for that, I'm going to use white chalk. I'm going to divide the canvas in the center. And this is a 12-inch. So the center is 6, around here somewhere. So I'm going to draw a line to the bottom, dividing this area in two, because I want my mountain range here, but I don't want the mountain range right in the center. I think that's kind of boring. So I'm going to do the mountain range meeting at about here, and the Rocky River coming from this area as well. So I'm going to get rid of this line. I don't need this anymore. I only need to know this one. Okay, I'm going to start with a big mountain in this corner. And the mountain is going to come up like this. You can do your mountain any shape you want. I don't want to lose my cloud, so I'm bringing the mountain range down till about there. And I'm going to do another one starting here. And this one is going to come behind like that. And maybe a smaller mountain in here, like that. Now you can do your mountains any way you want. This is just an idea. And I'm going to use a small filbert brush to paint the mountains. I'm going to start with the back mountain. This one is going to be the lightest color. And I'm going to pick up white with a drop of blue and a tiny drop of black. And I still feel this is too dark, so I'm going to add more white, just to half of the paint, because I'm going to leave this for the other mountain. Let's see if this one works. Yeah, I think I like it. You can add snow to your mountains. I'm not going to. I think I'm going to leave them like this. I want to keep it nice and simple and clean, not too overly done. Okay, for this one, I'm going to use the second color I mixed, which is slightly darker than the first one. And I'm going to paint this one. And if I see the colors are too similar, I add more blue and black, because I want these mountains to show the different colors as they get closer to the viewer. And I can always adjust my colors. That is the beauty of painting. And with the same clean brush, I'm just going to blend this color a bit into the green so it doesn't look so blunt. Okay, I have two mountains, and I'm going to paint the last one. I'm just going to intensify it a little bit more there for the last mountain, because this one is closer. I want it to be the darkest one. And I'm doing some edges here so it doesn't look too childish if it's just round. again, I want to blend these colors into my green, so it's not so blunt. I think I'm going to adjust this one. It's too pale now compared to the other ones. And I'm going to adjust this one. I don't like it, it's too dark. I'm just adding a dab more white to my mixture. And I think I like it better, a little softer. A painting is like this. You always, for me anyways, I change things all the time. If I don't like the colors or the shapes, and it's not a big deal. Doesn't mean you're doing it wrong. It's just a matter of what you like and what the painting is asking you to do, what you feel the painting needs. Looking at the mountains and the sky, I can always go back, adjust the clouds, and I think I'm going to add a tad more white just to make them come out a little bit more, and with the same way I did them the first time. Because there's so much blue-gray here, I feel the clouds can brighten up the skies. While this dries, I'm going to sketch the rest of the landscape. Okay, I have this line off center, and I'm going to draw a river that comes from here, and it's going to be thinner here because it's at the distance, and it's going to get larger here. Okay, let's divide this area in the center, in the middle here, just so I can explain better. All right, so my brook or river is coming from here, and it's going to turn, and then on this part where I draw the line, it's going to open up like this. Okay, and it's coming from here, and it starts opening up, and it goes down like that. Okay, I hope you can see. And just to define the area, I'm going to paint it. I'm going to mix white with blue and a drop of black. And I'm using the round brush. I'm going to start defining the river here. It looks very dark, the water, but that's okay. Better if it's dark. We can add highlights and things after. When the river dries, let's add some vegetation. And I'm going to be using the same round brush. I'm going to use the cyan blue with green, with yellow to create a green color. I can add a tiny drop of black. A nice color for foliage. I'm going to start adding some green in here. Just dabbing the brush. Creating some foliage at the bottom of the mountain. I'm going to use this metal palette knife just to create the effect of branches and tree trunks. Very subtle but effective. I'm going to do the same in here, adding some vegetation. I'm moving my brush, tapping it in different directions. And again, I'm going to use the palette knife, just scraping the paint to create the effect. And I'm going to blend some of this color in here to create some shadow from the trees. I'm going to add some yellow to the same color, create a much lighter green. And I'm going to add some patches of color in here. Different planes too. And I'm brushing horizontally to create the effect of land and mounds of green. I'm adding more yellow in this area. And with the same color, this pale yellowy green, I can add some highlights on the trees here at the back, on the foliage, just a bit to add bit more dimension, like that. Let's add some color to the water, and I'm adding some white to the base color that I use for the water. I'm going to start creating water movement. It's going to be lighter in here, and I'm just again moving the brush horizontally. It's going to be darker in this side of the water. I can add a little bit of movement. And I have more white with the same color. And I want it lighter back here because it's in the distance. I'm going to blend with a clean brush. I'm going to create a brown color using the red, the black, and I'm going to add some yellow as well. I'm going to add some brown in some areas. Around the edge of the river. Now I'm going to blend with a clean brush. Just to break down some of the green. You can play with your colors until you're happy. Now I'm going to add some yellow back here. to create some dimension on the planes of this painting. Now, to add more pizzazz to the painting, I'm going to add rocks around the river, and I'm going to use the same chalk to sketch the rocks. And the rocks are going to be larger at the front. So let's start with the front ones. So this is going to guide us to the back ones. And I'm going to add the rocks at the edge of the water, and they're just going to be irregular shapes. Some are going to be smaller, some larger. And I want to follow the river, and I'm going to add some on the back like this. As the rocks get closer to the back, they get smaller and smaller to the point where we can't really see them. These ones can even be larger than those because these ones are closer to us, and different shapes. They get smaller and smaller back here. I'm going to add more rocks coming this way. I'm going to add some at the front of the painting just to indicate the river is following this way, and more in here, like a rocky barrier of some sort. It's going to be a very rustic landscape. I'm going to pick up a small round brush, and I'm going to mix two different colors for the rocks. I'm going to do a blue-gray with white, black, and blue, my cyan blue for the rocks, and I think that's good. I'm going to mix a yellow-brown as well. I'm going to add yellow, white, black, little dot of red. Okay, so I have the two colors for the rocks. And I'm just going to paint some with this color and some with the gray. I'm randomly choosing the colors here. I'm going to go back and add different colors to this rock. This is just the base color for the rocks. Okay. And I'm going to do others with the gray color. I'm now going to use a fine liner brush. I'm going to mix a dark gray, very dark, with black, white, and some blue. I'm going to use a lot of water here because I want the paint to be nice and inky. And with this, I'm going to start defining the rocks. This is going to give them more of the look of a rock if they are defined and not all in a massive blob. So I'm just going to go and define them. the shapes can be messy like this because they have to resemble rocks, and rocks don't have perfect or symmetric edges. Your rocks can be any shape you want them, really, because there's rocks with all sorts of shapes. Yeah, once it gets towards the back here, don't worry too much because if they're so far we can't see them. The rocks are looking better. They're looking more like rocks. I'm going to pick up the angled brush I was working with. I'm going to pick up some of this gray blue that I did to define the rocks just at the tip of the brush. I have damped the brush. You can use some acrylic medium if you like to help with the blending, but I think this is fine just like that. And I'm going to start creating shadows at the bottom part of the rock like this. Just with the toe of the brush. This is going to make them look much more realistic. Especially when they are together here, they create shadows to one another. And when you use an angled brush this way, it will blend it for you. It makes it so much easier. This is really creating the effect of rocks. I mean, you don't want to paint perfect rocks. You want just to create the effect when you look at the painting. And to the same color that I used for the shadow, I'm going to add some white. Create the same color but much lighter. And again, I'm going to pick up just on the toe of the brush and blend on the brush itself. And I can add some highlights to some areas of the rocks just to make them look more realistic, more lively. The highlight can be randomly placed because of the shape of the rocks. The highlights can be in different areas, but at the top mainly. Try to add a bit of attention to every rock. See how pretty that looks? I'm just giving a quick dab to the ones on the back. I'm going to add some dark green here because these rocks are going to cast some darkness. And I'm picking up the blue with green and a drop of black. And I'm going to add some of this in here between the rocks. I'm going to blend a little bit. With a clean brush, I'm going to get rid of all the chalk marks that I did earlier on. I don't need them anymore. Make sure the painting is dry when you do this. Acrylic paint dries very quickly though. I'm going to add some detail to the water. And the water looks a little static. So I'm going to use a flat brush. And I'm going to mix white with a drop of blue. My palette is getting very messy, but that's a good thing. It means I'm having fun with my painting. And I hope you are too. With this very pale color, this very pale blue, I'm going to add some movement to the water coming here. And I'm doing it just like I did it earlier, very loosely. The ripples of the water. Okay, it looks nice. I like it. I'm going to pick up a small angle brush, and with the same color, just going to add some water in here, gathering on the rocks. And I can add a little bit of white. I'm leaving the white for the end. I can add a few ripples of white in here. If you use white for everything, it's not going to have the bright effect you want. So leave the white just for the very final touches. If you feel your painting is lacking vibrancy, just let it dry and add more layers. The painting is almost done. You can leave it as is, or you can continue with me. I'm just going to add a nice tree right here. I'm going to use a fine liner brush. And the big mountain is here, so I want to add a tree on this side, kind of to offset the painting. And I can sketch with my chalk the size of the tree, because I don't want the tree to be so big and take over. So I'm going to do the trunk at about here, okay, in the center of this side of the canvas. And the trunk is going to come up, and it's going to twist a little bit like this. This is the main trunk, like this. See, this is why it's good to draw it with chalk. Okay, and all the branches. This is going to be the main branch. Like that. And I'm going to mix brown again using black and red, a dark brown, and I'm picking up the fine round brush, and I'm going to do the trunk. It's going to bend a bit like this. This is the main trunk. Now I'm going to move to a fine liner brush to do all these fine branches. I'm going to add a drop of white to the tree color, to the brown I mixed. I'm just going to add some details on the trunk just so it looks better, with some shadow and light like this. And I'm going to mix green for the leaves. I'm picking up some yellow. And I'm going to add the blue and a tiny drop of black to create a nice dark green. And I'm just going to move the brush, just barely dabbing on the canvas, moving my brush in different directions, creating the nice foliage. I'm going to use the same green, create some shadow at the bottom of the tree here. I can add some dark green in some areas here. And I'm going to add yellow to that green, create a lighter version of the same color. I'm going to add some highlights. Not everywhere. Don't want to lose the effect. Just at the top, just a little bit. You can add a little bit of white to that color too. And with the flat brush, I'm picking up some of the dark green that I mixed. And I'm going to add grass around here, around the rocks, to finish the painting. And I'm going to add some light green as well. Just adding some white to the green I mixed, so everything stays nice within the same palette. Okay, my friends, our mountainside painting using the Pebeo acrylic paint is done. The last thing I did on this painting was I splattered a little bit of white in here just to show the water splashing against the rocks. I'm going to give you a close-up of the painting. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you learned something new. If you like this video, please give it a like, comment below, share with your friends, and subscribe to my channel if you don't want to miss any future content from me. And don't forget to check the review of the Pebeo paint. I'm going to link it up here somewhere. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you on the next one.